Can I just ask y'all a question?
For sure.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
This because I you know, she gone now, so we it's us now. We have to cook out. So my thing is this: I'm tired of people telling Black people when to start taking history in account. It's like they have a start date. Like, we only going to deal with you post 75, and we're just going to focus on how do you critique of people after every complete atrocity has happened to them, and try to evaluate that in a 30, 40-year span when they're recovering from something that took eons. That just doesn't make any sense to me. And the fact that they're trying to attack us behaviorally, character-wise, while discarding eons of cannibalism, child pee, beastie, like, why can't we take into account anything when we're talking to these people, when everything that we're doing is just a byproduct of what happened to us? Not saying everything you do is because what happened to slavery, but this is post grand life altering atrocities. They're going to be all at best, we're going to be altered. So how can you just evaluate us off of that while discarding your entire existence of violence, pillaging, the worst of things? Just like, I can't even have a real conversation with people like that. They're not being honest.
So Ella, I don't agree with it, but I'm just going to tell you what the reasoning behind that is. It's on topic. It's almost like how when we're talking about if we're having a relationship convo and we tell the women and then we start doing the whatabouts, it's irrelevant. So we can't really do the whatabouts all the time. So that was the nature of it in this particular case. That's why when I came in, I chose not to mention anything about whatever it is that I feel like they do, right? I just went by the facts to show how you're wrong as hell and you're giving out horrible data, incorrect data, and misleading.
The only reason I said that is because they're evaluating us on a behavior level, as if our behavior is strictly dedicated on, as if their response to us is strictly predicated on our behavior, when history shows us, like I said before, at our best behavior, we were treated the worst. So that logic doesn't compute to me.
But they're fully aware of that. They're fully aware of that. That's not something that we have to educate on. That's why sometimes, like, I don't try to reason, because they're fully aware that there is something systemic going on. They're fully aware that it doesn't matter.
That's where the fatigue comes in, because you know that they know. You know what I mean?
Know. It's one of those things where that's why, like, I try to exercise stoicism, because what's the point of letting you get me riled up when I know that I know that you know that there is a systemic backing for this, because you can understand it in every other realm but this one, and you're purposely being obtuse.
Shout out to Bo. Because me and her was talking, and those are the questions I had.
I literally was about to say that. I was about to be like, shout out to Bo.
But so some things that she said that especially regarding scholarships, right? Over 75% of scholarships go to white people, despite them only being 60% of the population. With all the affirmative action and DEI and everything else you want to talk about, Black people still only get about 11% of scholarships, which is the percentage of our population, so to speak. So even with all this help you claiming that we get, it only amounts to our population. But yet you are getting disproportionately the amount of scholarships, and you're saying that you're being systematically discriminated against? Make that shit make sense. Also, again, shout out to Bob. I wanted to address this. And I said this in the back chat. Well, I said, me and Bo was talking about it, and this is how it came up, because I was like, I find it interesting that she only has Black fatigue after she got demonetized, after she pissed off Black people. When she invited a white racist on her show, and then she got demonetized, and then the Black people on her show stopped fucking with her. Now all of a sudden you got Black fatigue. It seems opportunistic and retaliatory. That's what I said. It seemed like you rode the opportunity to shit on Black people because you invited this white racist on your show, and black people stop fucking with you, and you decided, there's a bag in this. Hey, look, I understand. Hey, JR, shout out to you. I understand. You know, the numbers, it's going crazy right now in the chat. But god damn, sometimes we don't need to invite white people into a conversation about what goes on with us. Who gives a fuck what Pearl has to think about what black people are doing? You was
Sweeney.
Hold on, wait. You was fucking with us tooth and nail. You had black people on your show. They was running your show. They was the only entertaining thing about your show because you wasn't that entertaining. There wasn't nobody there to listen to what Pearl had to say about relationships. It was all about the guests that she had on her show, which was mostly black people.
So Sweeney, you know, I don't really want to speak for JR per se, or definitely don't want to question what it is. But at the end of the day, it's a topic that there's a feeling that a lot of people have, and if you want to understand what this actually is, sometimes you have to hear from the horse's mouth.
I have to,
and you challenge ideas, and none of us are afraid of these types of conversations. Sometimes you have to take on the enemy head on, if that's what that is, right? Or so.
My question though is, who asked white people? Nobody said, white folks, you got black fatigue. Why? Nobody asked them.
Just like no one asked them to redefine the word woke, the fact of the matter is that colonization is in their nature. So when we sit here and talk about epigenetics, I think thievery is quite literally now a part of their DNA makeup. They take things that black people create, they redefine it, contort it, and make it to their benefit. That's what I said when I came on the panel when I first spoke. That's what they have done with woke. That's what they have done with many other words, many other phrasings, things that we use to explain our experience as people. That's what happens.
No, so how about this though? This is what I want y'all to actually consider, right? There are people who actually think like this. People who are running shit who think like this. We don't want people to view us in this manner. So sometimes the question why makes sense when just if you listen to what people are saying, we're talking about employers, right? People who are in charge of what is it you do, and people who are going to continue to perpetuate ignorance. So you have to combat that. You can't just let it slide. You need to take your head on.
You think the people who have black fatigue from white people, we changed their minds? What we said on this panel changed their minds. All of a sudden, Pearl gonna go back to the congregation and be like, you know what, white folks, them black folks over there are cool as hell.
But when you have people putting out misinformation, sometimes you have to educate them. She didn't refute a single stat that I brought up. She has to go back to the drawing board and pick and really break these stats down, because people Google stats, and then there's some people who study statistics and understand what that actual breakdown looks like in real life. We have to educate people.
We all must realize it's trendy right now. It's trendy to speak about black people. If you go on X,
that's what I was going to say. If you go on TikTok, it's
right conservatives, they're speaking about black people just for no reason. It's fun for them to say the N-word, and myself, and I personally, I don't care about the N-word. I'm not sensitive, but with these white folks that use the N-word on Twitter, it's just very funny, because if I'm gonna use a word, I don't even cuss actually. But if I am gonna use a word, I'll use the word in any situation. And I have these white racists that come on my show sometime, and I asked them, would you say, I see you say it on X, you even said it on stream. Okay, someone was calling, I believe, another content creator the N-word, and I said, would you say this in every situation? He said, what do you mean? I said, well, would you say it if you were walking in Newark, New Jersey, walking in in Chicago, if you were walking, would you say it in the hood around these black people? Nah, I kind of know when to use it and when not to use it. Ah, okay, I see. That's not very masculine. It's effeminate behavior, but
that they don't use it around black folks.
I think the main point though, I do think it's trendy. This is why a lot of people are making content about this black fatigue. Like I said before, if it's black fatigue, it's all types of fatigue. But as black people, we must be aware and we must acknowledge and understand our own shortcomings, because that's the only way we can get through. We must acknowledge that.
I completely disagree.
What'd you say? What part do you disagree with?
Because it's the same thing. We must acknowledge our shortcomings. Our shortcomings are highlighted. It is already acknowledged. We understand what is happening. There is no more highlight on our shortcomings that we need. And I think that when you talk about content that is popular, I think the same thing applies to this consistent rhetoric of the single baby mama culture that you have mentioned twice out of context on this very panel. Like, there's a lot of things that are trendy and, oh, this is super cool to talk about. Let me talk about single baby mama culture and ABs. And these are like the trendy topics, black issues, black people, black women. There is no kind of solution that is wanted. It is simply to gain content. It is simply to grift. It is simply to make money off of talking about these issues that we deem to be trendy. That's
okay. So let's make a clear distinction from what you said, right? So you're saying you're putting things in a monolith. Like there's no solution to talk about this content. You're saying as if people aren't giving prescriptions for things. Now you can give a descriptor where you can speak about a problem. And I think that the people that do that, they're doing it just for content. But when there's content creators where they can observe and speak about a descriptor, but also give a prescription like I always do. If I'm giving a descriptor, I tend to give a prescription as well. So if I'm speaking about single mothers, if I'm speaking about black people, if I'm speaking about white people, I tend to always do both.
Got it. All right, we're gonna Ella. Can we go ahead? Then we got Ella, Saint, and Aisha. Go ahead.
I just want to say to what Sweeney said, I think we need to have those people on these channels, not to convince them of anything, but to remind us why we need to stop fighting. Because these issues that we have amongst each other, these ills we have amongst each other, look how unified we are tonight. Look how much we be going at it. Now tonight we all on one accord. This was a reminder of what we really need to be on. Not saying we got an enemy, we need to hate them. I got some good black white folks I know. But our issues stem from a people. And they need to see that these issues we have with each other, this is the root, this mentality. People that think like her, this is the root cause of why where we are. And like Marquette said, when he brought up the genetics, they are alluding to that, which would make you have to go to history, because if you go to history, you will see a behavior pattern based on their specific genetics that has always been the same. And I digress.